The bells on the shop door dings, signaling a customer entering. I greet them with my customary greeting, "Welcome to Jack's. How can I help?" Unable to continue or move, I stand there looking at this guest. Time is ticking slowly. He walked towards me and the door closed slowly behind him. I broke the silence to continue my sentence as I picked up David, propping him onto my hip, taking a few steps away from the customer. Forcing a smile with my lips, holding David a little tighter, I wait for him to respond. Unsure of what I should do or if I should move. "I will always find you. Regardless of where you go." This sounds like a threat, even through his whispers. He walks closer towards me, reaching out to David. He began speaking using friendly tones to the baby I now carry. He signals a high five. David shies away from the reach of this unknown man, grabbing me tighter. Silently asking me for protection from this stranger. Instinctively I turn slightly, placing myself between my child and this man. I don't look directly at him. Keeping my eyes lowered and my head down. Remembering a time of only speaking when given permission. Instead of touching David, his hand slowly glides down my shoulder and arm. Sending a shudder down my back. I stay in place. Trying not to show any reaction to his touch, his smell, his voice. "You miss me?" he asks, and I froze. Knowing what I should say, but not wanting to feel the consequences that will follow. I hear the footsteps of my husband coming down the back stairs and I feel a little safer now. Bringing my head back to a normal position, I slowly back away from the imminent danger and uncomfortability, towards the sounds of safety. Meeting my husband at the archway. Trying to hide the fear I felt. "Can you take care of this customer? David's getting a little antsy." I whisper into Jack's ear. He nods slightly. I quickly leave the area, heading upstairs to our apartment and closing the door behind me. I want to use all locks on the door, but I don't, only closing the door and placing David down on the living room couch. I pull out a book from his bookshelf, open it and begin to read a fairy tale. I love reading, it takes me to another realm. A place of make-believe to take away any anxieties felt from the real world. This also comforts David. After a few stories David falls asleep, so I place him in the bed. I could go back down to the store, but I stay in the apartment, finding small tasks to do here and there, until I hear the bell over the door chime again, signaling when he left the store, or so I hoped. That ding signifies all that enters and leave, yet I could not muster the will to return to my store duties. Moments later, Jack calls me back down to the store. He needed to finish managing the inventory and billing for the store. Jack looks at me with a smile that says, "He's gone," relieving my anxieties. I returned a smile, although it was filled with nerves. I let him know David was asleep. He hugs me firmly, making me feel instantly protected and less nervous. I return to my store duties as Jack finishes with the paperwork. Nothing else needs to be said about the unwelcome visit, and we continue our day at the shop. Only taking a break to pick up Sean from school. Sean is my oldest and he's 6 right now. He was too young to understand the life we left, and I am happy I made the decision to leave. Sean and David are my ex's sons. Jack and I lived in the same neighborhood. I don't think I noticed him much in the beginning. He was a kind neighbor that would help carry groceries or say hello as we passed. After a little more time went by, I became less nervous to speak to him. Jack was always kind and never pushy. Jack was a good neighbor that turned into a supportive friend. He saw what I was going through. Even through the cover-ups and excuses. One day he asked me to take Sean and run away with him. I didn't know if he was joking, so I smiled, saying, "No thanks." He replied, "No, I'm serious. Pack up some things for you and Sean and let's leave. Today." My life was full of so much trauma. I had gotten used to it. Coped with living on edge every second of every day. I knew what to do and did what was expected of me. The few stolen minutes I would share with Jack were my only relief in this torrent life I lived. Taking a few moments to think about the question posed to me by Jack, if I didn't leave my situation right then, I believe Sean wouldn't have a mother any longer. One slip up, a slight smile at the wrong time could cause an avalanche of punishment aimed solely for me. I couldn't do this to my son. At that moment I made the decision to leave. So, I packed up what I could and left with Jack. We moved states away to a new area, with new neighbors. People who didn't know either of us. People who didn't know him. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know I was carrying David either. All I could do was hope Jack was a better man than him. Jack stepped up and became a father of 2. He was kind to Sean and gentle with me. Even when I told him I was pregnant and he was not his. Well, he already knew that it wasn't. We were still in the dating stage of our relationship. Getting to know one another personally, using separate rooms. Learning how to maneuver as a household. Within a few months of us settling down in this new town, Jack asked me to be his wife. It's the kind of question that makes you pause, yet I felt the answer to this question will always be, yes. We waited until David was walking before tying the knot and had a small lovely ceremony. Some time after that we opened up the store, Jack's Corner Store, and have been living easy for the past few years. Greater than. Since the day the ex first walked into our store, I saw him almost every day. Sometimes he would be waiting outside at Sean's school. All smiles and friendly. Sometimes I would see him around the neighborhood. I would pretend not to notice his presence. Yet, I could not stop looking as he stood around seemingly watching. A couple of nights this week, I thought I saw him standing in front of our store. But, when I went to the window, all I saw was a shadow of a tree or shrub. I begin biting my nails or pacing for what seems to be no reason. Every time the store bell would ring, I remember him coming into the store that first time. The fact that I saw him almost every day was too much for comfort. I can't handle these unannounced visits from him. I'm afraid he will ask for something I really don't want to say yes to. So, I best be on my best behavior on the days he does come to visit Sean after school. I silently wish he wouldn't suggest an overnight stay or anything similar. I have not seen him being harsh to Sean, but I know how he can get with me and would not want to put Sean in that type of situation. Each time he comes to the school, I stand by silently as he talks with Sean. Asking about school or talking about other activities of the day. Sometimes I follow as they walk to the nearby playground. I wait patiently until they're done, never interrupting the father-son moment between the two. When he is done with his visit, the ex goes towards what I can only perceive as the direction of his home, as Sean I returns to ours home. To be continued.